Good Wednesday evening and welcome to another broadcast of the American Ricci Mahjong League, a regular Wednesday evening session. Division B3 will be where we open the evening. A couple games starting at the top of the hour, but this one looks pretty fantastic as we've got Andrew and Mohan, George and Nathan duking it out. Should be starting momentarily. We've hit session 5, which means the penultimate session before our final round in the spring session, and this is going to be a pivotal session for just about every single one of these players. Andrew, currently the only positive player at the table, and of course players must be positive in order to earn promotion spots, whether they be guaranteed promotion spots as we see the top 6 qualifying for, or bonus promotion spots that could occur due to double promotion drop downs, as well as players going on hiatus. So a lot of incentive for Andrew to get some extra buffer here, as well as Mohan and George to make it over 0.0. Andrew will be our first dealer, Nathan to the right. Across the table is George, and on our left, Mohan. Taking a look at the hands around the table, 2 Dora, none present in the hand of Andrew. However, he does have the capability to incorporate that with the 3-4 Mon shape currently in hand. Looks like it wants to be some type of Tanyao, not necessarily Tanyao, but Ricci Pinfu. If he can swap out the 1-so pair for another tile, perhaps a 3-pin or a 6-pin, Tanyao is possible. We do see a call on the left for Mohan opening up here with Dora pair. Ishanten, one away from Tempai. If he gets the 6 Mon, ideally, can't just drop away from the 6-pin straight into Tempai. Might have to make some more difficult decisions later on, though. On the right, it looks like there's also Dora 2 picked up for Nathan, and that is another promising sign. 1 away from Tempai there, with 2 incomplete diamond shapes. 5-6 Mon can accept a 4 and 7 Mon, and the 4-5 pin, of course, can accept 3-pin, 6-pin. We'll be looking to complete that and probably find a safe tile in the meantime. Also wants to draw a 6-so and shift this into Tanya on top of things. Across the way, George is still looking at a lot of pairs in hand. A couple of Kanshan shapes is weak, and certainly that 1-3-5 Mon is going to struggle because there is no Dora left to be drawn. Wow, look at this draw, by the way, for Mohan. Straight into Tempai with another Onko drawn, so perhaps the possibility to shift into a Twitter with a 5 Mon or 7 Mon draw. But in the meantime, we are going to see that Ricci Pinfu come out of the way from Nathan. 3-6 pin, wait, Ricci Pinfu Dora 2, Mongon chance. One pin's going to give some breathing room for George as well. Has 3 of those in his hand. Already discarding south-south, so perhaps planning to fold out here. But the dealer has some incentive to fight and hits Tempai. Just has to jam the 7, so it's Suji, and a lot of the 8-sos are gone. So looks like a great tile to jam, and Andrew will take the fight. No more 3-pin left on the wall. 2 6-pin. Oh, but the 6 Mon, that's the one that deals into Mohan with the open hand on the left. Mohan was able to maintain the Tempai throughout and picks up 3 and 40. 5,200 plus the 2 Ricci sticks. That's basically a Mongon. And the early hit goes to Mohan to open up the game. Nathan will be the dealer. Heading into East 2. Tempai is callable. This initial set of tiles contains the Red Dragon pair, so pretty easy to open here. The rest of the shapes kind of weak in the Pinzu. 799, so it's okay in the Sozu. The Monzu have the strongest blocks, so definitely a hand that will appreciate the ability to call to complete some of these shapes. On the right, George has a nice selection of Mon tiles, and this is actually one away from Tempai already. The most likely end weight is going to be 9 Mon 6-pin, as we see the hand right now. However, that certainly can change. Especially if we draw a connector to the 6-pin, either a 5-pin or a 7-pin, could turn that shape into a diamond and give us better options. Across the way, West pair for Mohan, that's the Dora, and that's also Mohan's Seat Wind. So we've got a good chance to open up for Mongon. West hard for the players to use, and also completely walled outside of the pair in his hand. Make that 3 pairs now, so Some interesting choices, but another hand that desperately wants to be able to call the Yakuhai. On the left, Andrew has a very classic Riichi Pinfu looking hand. We'll hope to connect to the 5-mon or the 8-mon or the 5-pin in some sort of Diamond way, sequence way to grab that Pinfu. Looking back at Nathan's hand, he has improved the shapes pretty dramatically. And now it looks like it could even Riichi if the Chun remains in the wall. One more step closer to Tempai. Wow, even cutting the full 799 shape. This has worked out really nicely. There's a small consideration to just cut away from the 6-so because it's not offering that much to the hand as it currently sits. It is a backup pair, and there is one 9-so cut already, so difficult choice here. I kind of like cutting the 6-so anyway. Wow, 3-2. That means Nathan's going for the full value Saranko. In the meantime, Mohan across the table draws the triplet of the Dora, and now is overblocked. He needs to trim one of these down. Has too many pairs. One of the benefits of calling the or drawing this West triplet to begin with is the players might suspect that you have a pair, but they'll be hard pressed to believe that you have the triplet if you start opening your hand. Notably for Nathan, perhaps one of the reasons that he was willing to cut the 3-pin, 2-pin is because the 1-pins had started to die off a little bit, with 3 of them being discarded. It might end up being the best move here. Wow, Chun instead. So, does not believe that it's a live tile, though they are just sitting in the wall.
Sumo.
And there's a Sumo for Andrew, not willing to slam a Riichi on a bad weight. Just the 6-mon Kanchan. Will not allow this hand to continue, though, certainly. And claims a cheap win to send us forward and shut down the threat of the Dora 3 across the table. That will send us into East 3. We get George in the other seat. Red Dragon, now the Dora. Chun, one on the right to Mohan, and one Chun across the table in Andrew's hand. By the way, Andrew has opened up on the West, so there's the potential that he could choose to wait on the Red Dragon as a Tonki in the future. However, he has 2 other pairs in the hand, so that seems relatively unlikely. Dealer's hand looks fantastic here, although it's starting to collect a few too many pairs. Might trim away from one of them now, and yeah, just starts with 1-mon, 1-mon. I also don't mind cutting the 6-so rather, and keeping as many blocks as possible in the early part of the hand. However, that will reduce our acceptance later on. And oh no, we keep getting pairs. It's possible this could have been Chitoi if we were willing to go for that, but it's easier to collect pairs early on in the hand rather than later in the hand when you're close to Tempai. So I'm not going to worry about it too much if I were in George's spot. Might consider holding that 5-mon though for the chance at 5, 6, 7 Sanchoku. On the right there, Mohan going to hold on to this Red Dragon for quite a while because we're lacking a suitable pair. The 3-so pair kind of acting as 2 separate sequences, so a little bit difficult to imagine that becoming our final pair. There's another sequence shape, so Mohan looking strong to slam a Riichi in the near future. The question is, will it be using the door or not? One step further for George. 2 away from Tempai. The 4-mon could act as a pair, and now Mohan will toss the door. It was cut before by Andrew across the table and followed up on by George the dealer, so definitely makes sense to trim away from that. Now, a difficult choice here for Mohan. He will seek out the value, aiming for the Ipeko 2-3-4 so, and use the 4-mon as the pair. Could have also played the 4-mon out. I think that would have also been really wide Ishanten, but definitely lesser in the potential future value. So I like this move as a greedy option. We can see the chi here from Andrew, cutting the 5-pin for the 3-6-pin final weight. Looks like we are lacking Tempai, as the 6-8-8-mon is not yet complete. Or rather, the 3-4-mon is the shape that's not complete. On the left, we do have Ishanten from Nathan. Could be a strong Riichi. So we've hit that moment where just about everyone is one away from Tempai. Players will start to collect a safe tile so that they can continue to push because they're expecting someone else to slam Ricci soon. We'll see who gets there first. Nice 6-mon draw normally. However, remember that 5-mon from earlier? We are Huriten on that shape, so George will need to complete that first. But in the meantime, Mohan grabs the ideal tile, the Tuso. So it's Ricci, Pihu, Ipeko, potential Tanyao. The weight is 1-4 pin, and 4 pin will give the full Mongon value. Only one pin left in the wall, and the 4 pin is twice left in the wall. These Mons do not look safe. George has to bow out. We do have Tempai for Andrew. Jams. That's not really jam. 8-mon is safe entry, and the 3-6 pin weight is also relatively low in the wall. I believe there are just 2 tiles remaining, both of them being 6 pins. In the meantime, Nathan has drawn one of the deal in 4-pin tiles, and will try the 1, but that's not good enough. It was one chance, but this late, one chance can sometimes not be trusted. Still, it was a fair fight from Nathan from a spot of Ishanten, and it only dealt him to 39. No Ura for Mohan for the Mongon, so it is still going to be a relatively closely contested game here for second place. Mohan, though, starting to pull ahead here in East 4 as our new dealer. White Dragon pair means this hand is callable. 1 door in hand, disconnected from the rest of the shapes. Now connected by this 5-mon, although it's a loose connection there. On the right, Andrew, excellent looking shapes. Wow, this is already 1 away from Tempai with amazing acceptance. Could have a 3-sided weight, could have a Shabo waiting on a Dora, which is excellent in the early portion of the game. It's likely players will trust a dragon tile and still have it in their hands. As we see Mohan open up to speed towards Ishantam. A lot of pairs in the hand. Maybe thinking about the 1-mon, but just lets it go. Perhaps willing to cut the door as well for maximum efficiency in the future. Across the table, Nathan is 2 away from Tempai. Too many pairs in that hand. And wow, Mohan got the ideal 6-mon draw as George has a 3-4-mon shape that can't really use a 6-mon. And that means Mohan's got an excellent, the ideal Tempai relative to the possibilities that were presented from that Ishantan. 1-so 5-pin where this can turn into a better shape upon drawing the 4 or 6 pin. George draws the deal in tile, but can actually use this for Itsu. Yeah, plays the 2-so out and will greed for value. So the 2 pin's probably going to be the pair. Ideally, George would draw the 6-so rather than the 3-so into Tempai. And get Ricci Pinhu Itsu, the full straight. 5 pins are still alive in the wall, and just about every player can use them, except for George. It looks like Nathan across the table will pull one of those in. Cut away from one of the pairs. Ishanten for Ricci Ipeko. Twin sequences in the lower pinzu. 1, 2, 3. If I'm George here, I kind of want to just cut the 3-pin out and hold the slightly safer west. Unless I feel like the dealer is already Tempai, in which case maybe that's why the 3-pin it's not been discarded yet. But we'll trade for the green dragon. Oh, there's a Tempai. It is not the Shabo weight, but it is still Ricci Ipeko 2-5 pin. None of the 2-pin left in the wall, but only 1 5-pin in fact left. Mohan fighting for 2,900. Make that 39 because there's a Ricci stick. So this is some bit of value. Has only had safe tiles to discard so far. Oh, there's Tempai. And that's Itsu as well. If you cut the 7-pin, you might as well greed for the value, huh? The Shabo weight's not that much better. Oh, goes with the 1-pin. I guess that's slightly safer entry, but definitely feels like it's lacking in value. Doesn't quite have the straight because our shapes are 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 7, 9. So that 5, 6, 7 messing things up a little bit. Eight pin rather has 1 live in the wall. This 4-mon safe to the first Ricci, not necessarily the second, and Mohan is in the process of cutting away. Can't get back into Tempai. He's willing to jam the 9-pin. Not so. With no pin tiles except for the Ricci tile in that pond, definitely the 9-pin's a little bit risky. And it will go to Ryukyoku, 2 players Tempai, both of them being the Ricci players. They'll pick up 1,500 apiece. The other 2 will pay out that same amount. And we head into the south round with 2 Ricci sticks and a Homba in the middle of the table. Andrew will be back in the dealership. All right, Andrew has a relatively difficult high pie. Just counting the number of blocks. We've got all 5 blocks. The problem is not all of them are strong. 4-6 Mon Kanchan, 3-5 Pin Kanchan, 5-7 So Kanchan. Looks like a hand that will be tough to put together. But with all of those Kanchan shapes being centralized, there is a good opportunity for improvements to be made to open-ended weights. Opportunity, even if there is no value or Dora currently in that hand. There's a single 1 pin in the hand of Nathan on the right, but that will probably be tough to use given that he's also got a 4 pin as well. And that 1 pin, 4 pin overlap, not super strong. Across the table, George is opening up this time with the Red Dragon. Looks like the value will just be 1 Han unless he can pair up the 1 pin before getting to Tempai. And that is a tall ask because he's already Ishantan. Mohan on the left has a Dora in use in the hand. Ooh, maybe thinking about Sanchoku, maybe thinking about Itsu. Let's the Itsu go and goes for the 1-2-3 Sanchoku potentially. Too many shapes in this hand, too many sequence shapes. Now, if you completed them all, you wouldn't have a pair, so we'll trade off one of these shapes, cutting the 7-8 pin because that one's Furitan. And ideally, we want to complete the lower shapes anyway for the 1-2-3 Sanchoku. We do have Tempai from George, though, planning to shut things down on the 2-5 Mon weight. Very live, actually. 5 in the wall. Nathan on the right has improved to the Dora pair. In fact, has kind of too many pairs, but assuming he gets Tempai, we'll have a lot of value. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pairs is Chitoi Ishantam. Can also draw triplet for another Tempai. Either 9 Mon, 1 pin, or 9 pin would work. Oh, but that 2 Mon doesn't fit. And that will end this hand. We had also made good progress towards a Tempai that incorporated Pinshu, but that hand will be shortly ended. We head to South 2, Nathan in the dealer seat. Now we start to think about our position in the game. And for Nathan, currently in last, but this is your chance as the dealer to make a dramatic point swing. Not really the hand to do it, though. No Dora. Bad shapes. We'll just be playing efficiently and seeing what comes our way. On the right, George is in the double South seat. Has none of the 4-so Dora. But the shapes are not the worst. Opportunity at 5, 6, 7 Sanchoku, something to consider. And good flexibility in the tile acceptance. Across the way, wow, a 3-pin Chi from Mohan. This is apparently the genius plan because immediately draws another 3-pin to fill in one of the shapes. Of course, Atosuke, looking for the west. Doesn't have a Yaku yet, but is planning to call the west. And will Chi again. It looks like a Sanchoku, but not quite yet. Really just needs the west for the time being. The plan is to call the west and end up on the 4-so Dora Tonki, so there is some amount of value in this hand. Speaking of the 4-so, we do have one locked into a nice shape for Andrew, who is 2 away from Tempai. Too many shapes in the hand once again. And that's a great problem to have. Can't call for Tanya, and if that's the plan, might end up cutting the 3-pin 2-pin. In fact, will do so. And this is somewhat of an interesting move because this hand will only be worth 2,000 points unless he pairs up another Dora. And that's not enough to get over 30k. And you need to be over 30,000 points to have a positive score at the end of the game. However, Andrew does want to make sure to end the dealership of the dark competition. And he does also want to make his life a little bit easier with 2 rounds remaining. Might not make this the same decision in South 3, but certainly South 2 it makes some degree of sense. Will we see the con? Thinking.
Con.
Yes. Flips the 8-mon to be Dora, and that's a new pair for Andrew. Looking at Mongon value now. Just needs to get into Tempai and finds it. Choice of weight. Picks the Shabo. Tanyao, Dora. And then the Forso's the original Dora. Uh-oh, that 8-mon can fit into George's hand. Meantime, Mohan has found the Forso Tonki weight after calling the West. Only 1 Forso is left in the wall, so this weight is not that live.
Sumo.
Oh my goodness, finds the Sumo. It will be a Mongon. Tanyao, Dora 4 for Andrew. And it is Andrew who swings things wildly. Unfortunately, Nathan, as the dealer, will eat the 4,000 points of Oyakaburi, where the other players are only paying 2,000, and that means Nathan has a lot of work to do in these final 2 rounds. Especially without a dealership, there's a big task ahead, and one thing to consider is the fact that as long as you have another player below 30,000 points with you, you're not losing maximal points, so that might be a sub-goal for Nathan, even if he finds it hard to get to change placements with somebody. Interesting that he's not calling the 9-mon or the South. None of these Yakuhai are good enough, so Nathan perhaps planning to Richi or play for Chitoi, up to 4 pairs now. But let's look back at our dealer who has dipped below 30k. Looks like a reasonable high pie. Singleton of the North, that could act as the pair later on. Maybe even Dianpeko. We'll just cut away from the North now. I don't mind tossing the Tuso and hedging that door a little bit longer. It is once cut. But wow, maybe this was the play. Keep the Tuso, pair it up, X-ray the wall, and now with a 7-so or 8-so draw, we could be looking at Dianpeko. On the right side, though, Mohan looks way too strong. Wow, that's just Tempai for George. Found the perfect draw, filled in the Kanchan shape. And Mohan might have to reconsider fighting here. 5-mon, 8-mon the weight. There is 1 tile of that weight. 2 tiles of that weight left in the wall. 1 5 and 1 8. Ideally, George would find the 5-mon for Ipeko. But not many options left. In the meantime, Nathan draws another useful tile. Not gonna matter. George gets the Tsumo, Richi Tsumo, Kinishu, Uda. Hits 1, so that'll be 26 all, 7,800 plus the Richi stick back. And we have a new leader in the game. George's been pretty patient over the course of this game. And on second dealership, overtakes Mohan, who's been in the lead for, well, since the end of East 1. George has an opportunity to extend once again with 2 pairs of honor tiles, including the Yakuhai Green Dragon. Hatsu pair can be called, as there are 2 players with a singleton in hand that will likely be filtering out. There's also a small possibility that George could even aim for some type of flush. Has all the blocks for it. 5 blocks necessary. And 5 blocks found.
Boom.
Pon 6-so, so hedging the 1-3-so Kanchan shape for now. But upon calling the North or drawing a helpful Mon tile, I assume that 1-3-so is going to come out of the way. Oh, but finds the 2-so first. So I guess we're just cutting the 7-9 and moving away. Unfortunate. It's kind of silly when the draw that helps your hand is the unfortunate draw, but here we are. On the right, it looks like Mohan aiming for, well, Kokshi / Honitsu.
Kan.
Wow, 5-so Kan. Flips the 2-mon to be a new indicator, so 2-mon and 3-mon are our Dora tiles. And there's one in the hand of George. North, 1-mon is the current weight for Yakuhai Dora 2. And he has the opportunity to use even more with the 2-mon draw or 3-mon draw. Ideally 3-mon. Can switch from the Shampon weight into a sequence-based weight. Meantime, Mohan will continue to cut these central tiles. Out comes some of the Sozu. Bear in mind that across the table, Andrew's hand is closed, so he can slam a Ricci with these 2 Dora indicators. We'll see if he gets to use both of these 3 Mon. I'm really curious what George would do as the dealer after drawing the 2 Mon. Because you could cut the 1 to end up on the Dora 3 Mon weight. Feels hard to expect that to come out, though. It's kind of funny, the 4 So might even be a safer tile than the 1 So here. Because of the Kokshi. There are 2 tiles in the well for this weight. Can swap to the 4 Mon pair rather than the 1 Mon pair. Instead, it sets up the Suji trap. And Andrew says, you know what? I no longer want to drop this 3 Mon. I decided I will never do that. And here it is. Here's that 2 Mon draw. Is it a value play? No. We'll just stick with the Shaba weight, just because the north looks like such a good option. Again, 2 tiles in this wall. The 3 Mon as a weight would have been all but dead. Only 1 tile. Nathan has been dancing around on the left. Would love to slam a Ricci for the chance at some Uda, but has not been able to find that Tempai with all of these pairs. We might be going to a draw. Mohan's done with his hand. He's folding out. Andrew has not been able to call into Tempai either. Oh, but there's the north! And with no draws remaining, I think Nathan had to be a little bit more cautious there and just pick a safer tile. This is going to be punished 5,800. George will extend the lead. Was that 58? See, there's a tune call for 4 Fu. The north was 4. I don't remember anything else being particularly valuable in that hand, so yeah, that makes sense to me. George will carry on this dealership. The shapes are there. Not good ones, but they exist. George will just play efficiently and look to see what improves on the right. Potentially Tanya. Door acceptance. 4 So once again. Across the table, there is a triplet of the red dragon for Andrew. A potentially valuable hand here. Perfect Ishanten. We say perfect Ishanten when we've got a diamond shape, such as this 2-3, and a diamond shape that has a pair attached to it. So this 4-5 that's got an extra 4. No matter how you draw in Tempai, you're going to get a 2-sided weight. Hence, perfect. On the left, Nathan struggling. Wants to get value out of this, so the 5 So is a great pickup to be able to use the Dora. Ricci, Pifu, potential Tanya will be the goal. Uh-oh, 3 So means that we can't actually use the Dora that well. So perhaps this is Nathan saying, I want 5, 6, 7 Sanchoku instead. I think you can hedge both plays with a 9-pin, but he might also be hedging the Itsu and the Pinzo as well. So perhaps that's the reasoning behind this decision. In the meantime, George has been progressing quite nicely in the Manzu here, completing Ipeiko 789 twin sequence, and already went away from Tempai. Just needs 4-7 Mon or 2-5 pin. Cannot open this hand though. Draws it and will Dama. Perhaps the fact that there aren't that many 7 Mon left, and this is a relatively poor weight with no Dora, is encouraging this Dama. But I think it's okay to slam here as the dealer. Wait 1 turn. Thinking.
Each.
Yeah, on second thoughts, I do want a Ricci. Does the Katagiri 4-pin though. Which, from a defensive perspective, is a really interesting question. Why is that 4-pin in that hand? Like, you cut the 1-pin, so you might have had a 4-pin already, but then you cut a 6-pin. So what tempi could you have that you were floating a 4-pin? I guess 3-4-4 makes sense, so I'd be a little bit concerned about a 2-5-pin weight here. However, it is indeed the 4-7 mon. Mohan backs away with a 9-pin cut. Andrew continues to fight. He had such a fantastic Ishantem, but he's going to be in trouble if he doesn't draw the 4-mon into tempi. It can be really difficult to fold out when you are so far ahead of the rest of the table from the start of the hand. But if Andrew draws the door, I imagine you can't do anything but slam here. 6 was pretty okay. Nathan Ishantem on the left. Mohan continues to fold. No chi for tempi, not enough value to make it worth fighting for. Somehow Mohan has drawn the Ipeko on the right, but looks like we won't exactly be able to win this hand. Could call back into tempi, and does with the safe 3-mon. Nathan cleared that earlier. So no Yaku here, but if Mohan doesn't draw anything bad, he could get there. Of course, the 5-mon does not deal in. That's 3 pins safe. Cleared by Andrew before. 2 5-mon is what looked suspicious before. I don't know if the situation has changed since then. We'll play out the safe 5. And Andrew has one more chance to get to tempi. Misses, and so he will just play a safe tile. 8-0 works, and it will be 2 players tempi. Mohan doing a great job to safely make his way into tempi. And yeah, this is about expected for George when you've got that central weight, Class C Yamen 4-7 with 3 tiles missing. You're not really expecting to win by Roan. You got a Hope Tetsumo, but you're not expecting to see many of those tiles in the wall. And at least with normal pawns. And indeed, there were not very many in the wall. Did have the opportunity to win if Andrew ever found the Dora, but that was not meant to be. And so that's okay. You pick up a few points, get to repeat once again as the dealer. This hand, not nearly as strong. Maybe some type of outside hand will just struggle along and hope for the best. On the right, not much better here. It is 2 away from tempi, but it's hard to use that 6-pin door for the time being. Maybe cutting the 1-2 so and floating the Dora still. Does miss out on 1-2-3 Sanchoku opportunities. Across the way, lots of central tiles. In fact, all of the 4 so being drawn by Andrew, who must certainly be thinking, man, couldn't I have gotten those last round? But Ishanten with 7 so, 5-pin, and 7-mon. Not a whole lot of acceptance there. That 7-pin will be a welcome addition to the hand because it allows the 6-pin door to be drawn and incorporated into the hand. We do have a great hand, finally, for Nathan on the left. A hand that potentially has value and can slam Ricci. This is tempi. It's not a good weight. Might decline it. I think it's totally fine to throw this back, but Nathan says, I can't wait anymore. I just need something to happen. And unfortunately for Nathan, well, Andrew's holding all the weight. So we'll have a hard time finding the win here. Now, Andrew might have a hard time folding because there's just not a lot that's safe against this Ricci. You could argue the 7-mon, and certainly the 3 so works for now. We'll see what happens. If he's got nothing else, he might just try the 4 so because that's 4 safe tiles if the first one passes. Again, some discipline here from Bohan, just going 9-pin, 9-pin. It has 3-pin, 7-pin's okay. 5-mon Nakasuji. Rather, 7-mon is okay. And the 5-mon is Nakasuji. Some folding opportunities here. George as the dealer probably doesn't want to have too much to do with his hand, but he keeps getting good draws, so starts with a 9-mon. This is 2 away from Tempai. We'll see if he's able to play for this hand at all. All right. 8 so out. Implies a fight from Andrew. If he gets Tempai, he can con the 4-so as a sort of defensive con. Hmm, 8-pin. Is that too bad? 3 of the 7s are out, so it's 1 chance, but yeah, it is too bad. So we will see the fold from Andrew, and it is only 1 player Tempai. Will send us into all last 2 Ricci sticks in the table, 4 Homba. That means an additional 3,200 points to the winner of the next hand. Mohan, a lot of reason to fight for those sticks. Chasing George down by 7,700. Pairs up the Green Dragon, so that means he can open this hand. Ricci also quite possible. Might have spent a little bit of time in the early portion of his hand thinking about whether or not he would call. I think it's fine to call here because there's so much value in the middle of the table. You really want to collect that. We'll see how the draws come in. Andrew, on the right, another strong-looking hand here. 2 away from Tempai with 3 Dora. So this is a huge opportunity. We'll see the call from Mohan. Could just cut the 6-mon and play all the nice shapes in the hand. There's an opportunity for Andrew, though, on the right to open up for Tanyao, cutting the 9-pin. We'll see if that ends up being possible. We'll play for it. Wants to collect those sticks to get over 30k. Nathan across the table, Ishan 10, looking for Ricci P Fedora. And on the left, nothing good in hand for George. Except for 1 completed shape, but we'll likely not be able to play for this. Of course, Nathan cannot open on this east. This is a Tempai. Not a good one, but it's a Tempai. I might even just throw that 5-mon back, personally. And look for the strong weight in the so shape later. But can swap to Shabo and does do so here. Oh, and that's going to get the 3. What? The Chi uses one of the 3s, but we'll have to discard another one. And so the hand, not too expensive, but the sticks in the middle certainly will be. Mohan now a mere 3,000 points. 5 Homba. The next hand win by Mohan will take first place, or at least tie for it. On the right, Andrew now 4,400 points away from getting over 30,000 points. So we'll look for Ricci +2, maybe needs to do better than Ricci Tsumo Uda. Oh no, there's Homba, so yeah, that will be enough. Ricci Tsumo Uda. Green Dragon, the Dora, tough to use. In fact, twice cut already. George will probably not be able to use his either. Across the table, Nathan, again, looking for any type of Ricci. At this point, you just want to keep Andrew below 30k. You want to collect as many points as you can. The opportunity to overtake for 3rd place is somewhat limited, as their gap is 1,400 points. Even if you include the 3,000 or 2,000 swing upon Sumo, 12,000 points is still just not enough. We are going to see the dealer Tempai slamming the Ricci on the E-Peiko 7-pin. Ricci, Tanyao, E-Peiko. Wow, this weight is so live. There's 2 in the wall. Will admit I missed the 7-pin on the right and amended my statement mid-sentence. But it's Suji. Now, Riichi Suji isn't necessarily trustworthy, but if you're out of options, sometimes it's the best you can do. And you could have suspected that Mohan was holding a 4-pin in hand to begin with. That early 1-pin cut, so not surprising to see one come out of the hand. This is Tempai for George. It's just he doesn't really want to Riichi this bad weight.
Dum.
7 will come out. It is Suji, as mentioned, and there wasn't much better. Without fully giving up the hand. The Ura, too! The 7-pin was the Ura. There were not actually that many tiles live in the wall. And yet, Mohan still gets the win and the 12,000 points and the 5-stick Homa sticks and his own Riichi stick back. And all of a sudden, it is George trailing. Mohan reclaims the lead, and we're not done yet. 2 away from Tempai, all the way from Haipai with the ability to use the door as well. An excellent 6-0 draw. And Mohan's looking to repeat here. And suddenly, we have a real battle for third place. All of a sudden,
Boom.
Nathan just needs to win a hand. And he can reclaim third over Andrew. Andrew on the right has an okay shape here, but only one door. Not enough of value to make it to 30k, certainly, after dealing into that last hand. And for George, George doesn't want to let any of this go down. Opening up with the Green Dragon says, I accept second place. Oh, but deals indirectly. That's not going to be enough, even with all of the Homba. Needed an extra Han there to get close. So, it will be Mohan taking the victory, plus 34.6. George, second place, plus 21.7. Huge second place at that. Andrew barely hangs on by 500 points over Nathan, who was not offered the opportunity to overtake in that last round. Just a win that was way too quick from George to really do anything. And so, with one game played here at this B3 table, we can update the standings to find Mohan and Andrew both over into the positives. Mohan making that climb, and George as well approaching that mark. So, typically in the B3 division, there are a number of bonus promotion spots. In the past, even, we've seen most of the positive players promote. Not sure that will happen this season. Depends, again, on a number of factors. But being positive, a huge goal here, and that's a great start for both Mohan and George. We should be able to watch one more game from this table. I also want to check the results of some of the other action that's been going on. There's an A1 table that is catching up. They're round 4 games. Kaz, Jay, Lucas, and Max. We take a peek and see if that's finished yet. We do have a result. Jay takes the first place, 32.3 to the good. Lucas in second, plus 12.5. Kaz a third, negative 16.1. And Max fourth, minus 28.7. It looks like there were 2 big swings in this game, both for Jay. A Hanuman Tsumo. Riichi Tsumo double tone Ura-san for Jay. He hit me with Ura-san earlier this season. It seems to be an Ura monster. And then later on, Jay won on Ipatsu, hitting Max directly for Pitanya Ura. That ended up being the difference between third and fourth place and first and second place after Lucas picked up a nice hand of his own. All right, well, we will probably be able to catch some of that A1 action later on today, as I believe they will be playing all 4. And I will hope so, because that will set up the Session 5 action. There is an extremely exciting table where the top 3 players of the division will be facing off. And those will be happening this Thursday and next Thursday. And I'm hoping that we'll be able to catch at least one of those 2-game battles. Game 2 looks like it will take a couple minutes to get underway. If you're looking at the standings, you may notice 2 arrows next to Cyrus's name there at first place. And that is because if you are in the C1 division or the B3 division, you can earn a double promotion if you finish the season over 200 points. Right now, Cyrus is hanging on to that mark. Alex chasing behind at 146. Alex actually was really close to double promoting in the season in which they hit B3. It just fell short a little bit, I think by 7 points, something like that, 15 points. It came down to the last game of the season. So a chance for redemption here. All right. Game set to go live any second now. It will be Mohan, our first dealer. Andrew sitting to the right. Across the table, George. And on the left, Nathan. And after a nice victory, Mohan has the opportunity to repeat with a pretty decent high pie, 1 completed shape, 3 incompleted blocks, no pair, but very flexible shapes. Pair acquired. Typically the pair is pretty easy to find, so I never worry about that. If I open up my hand and don't have any. On the right, Andrew acquires a second pair, a third pair even. We'll have some choices to make in the future, probably cutting away from the 4-so in order to guarantee the usage of the 5-so Dora. Across the table, George is looking strong. If you can feel that 8-so, you've got Riichi Pinhu, maybe 789 Sanchoku. Something to think about at least. We'll see what happens in the near future. On the left, Nathan gets a reasonable high pie here. Ipego chance, 5, 6, 7, twice in the Pinzu. Can also call the tune. May have passed up, though, on that first one because the shapes look really strong without opening. And you almost rather draw your tile and see if you can get something good. But we've hit that middle game now where players have just about finished trimming away their useless honors and terminal tiles, hoping to build towards the center. Now we get to see the real choices made. 9-so coming out of the way for George implies that he believes in 6, 7, 8 Sanchoku, which is certainly the most likely. If you're trying to hedge both options, you can just cut the 7-so and see what happens in the future, but we'll end up trimming away from both anyway. And huge draw for Nathan, by the way. Picked up the triplet of the Red Dragon and sits each on 10 now without calling a huge opportunity. Mohan opens up for Tanyao, gets a shape improvement, so Diamond Diamond Ishan 10. That can make use of the 5-so Dora. Andrew finds the connector to the Dora, so now sitting Ishan 10 with a perfect shape, 2-3-3 Mon and 7-8 pin. And it is George who draws into the Sanchoku, but actually drew the 5-so Dora and decides to confirm the Dora shape rather than guess on the Sanchoku. Smart move. But most of that weight's actually being held by Andrew. It's going to chase, waiting 1-4 Mon. I would say advantage Andrew right now. Riichi Dora 1. And yeah, Mohan wants this Tempai, would have to jam the 1. Looks bad though after the Riichi, but it's one chance. He's called the 2 Mon already. And he folds. What a read.
Sumo.
Says this is not good enough. We're going to see the Tsumo come out of the way for George, but Riichi Tsumo Pinhu Dora Ura. But dealer avoided the direct hit. Maybe it was cheaper, actually. Paying out 4,000 points there for the Tsumo versus, would that have been 2,600? Riichi Dora 1? Maybe getting hit directly was better. I didn't actually see what tile the Uda was. But I do appreciate the defensive read there from Mohan, even if it cost 4 points. Andrew looking relatively strong here as the dealer. Great so shape, great pin shape. The Mon shape could do some work. I might even hold this 3-so over the 9-7 and just think about Tanyao possibilities for the future. But this is Ishanten, so it's understandable to just take what you've got. Oh, and there's that 2-so. Would have been nice to have George on the right. Wow, fantastic shapes. Riichi Pinhu, potentially Sanchoku as well. Gorgeous hand. Will it be chased down? We have Mohan calling into Ishanten on the left. And Nathan playing for Chinitsu across the way, looking for So tiles. This is a call for Tempai, but I just kind of don't like it. I want to slam a Ricci, and George agrees. We're going to see a Pon. No Pon. Nathan playing very close. I wonder if that's his playstyle. Let's take a look at the stats here. Nathan, call rate of 19.3. That may be the lowest call rate I've ever seen in Armel. I just feel like this hand is a little too slow if you're not willing to open for it. You know, going for the full flush here. Maybe you get maximum value with the Chi Toy.
Chi.
But George
Don't.
does choose to open up here and will end the threat with just 1,000 points. Not finding the Sanchoku either. And that will swing us into East 2. George still with the lead here after that early Mongon Sumo. The follow-up 1K. Pair of Dragons to open things up. No 5-pin Dora in hand. Does have to draw a connector 6-pin though, so we'll probably try to work his way towards that tile. Nathan will probably stay closed here and slam a Ricci. Across the table, looks like Mohan's got reasonable shapes. Can hope to draw some Kanshan fills in order to get grab Pinfu. Other than that, though, it will likely just be a Tanyao or some type of Ricci. Then on the left, Andrew looking to do basically the exact same thing. Maybe thoughts of Itsu and the Sozu as a backup plan. Definitely George, early advantage in terms of speed.
Home.
There's the early open, 2 away from Tempai. And upon drawing the next tile, there's an interesting opportunity for some bonus fu. Oh, Queen Dragon, hang on a second. So Sho Sangan is possible, Dai Sangan not. We've got 2 of the Hatsu discarded already. But if you can pluck that 4th and final copy of the Green Dragon out of the wall before you get Tempai, you could even 5-so, 6-so and go for maximum value. Honitsu, or even Baimon with Toy Toy. Sho Sangan, Honitsu. In the meantime, though, Andrew picks up a fantastic 8-so draw. Itsu looking possible, just needs to find a 4-so, and then ideally a Dora draw as well. So not particularly helpful for that hand, so we'll just toss that away. And now it's decision time. George, what do you want to do? Greed. Value greed. George says, there's only one huff in the wall, but I like it. I want it. And can safely cut the 5-so against this Ricci. This is a great set of draws for Mohan, who finds Ricci potentially Dora 2. The weight is 4-pin, 5-pin. Oh, and there's the Haku draw. Can George risk this 8-pin? It is Dora Suji, but if it deals in, it's the cheaper side. And will going for the 12K, the 18K, I should say, as dealer. We're going to see a chase from Nathan, though. This is a strong weight. All these tiles lighting up. I'm having trouble reading it. At the very least, it's 3-6. Oh, 3-6 and 9. Yeah, that works.
Each.
And we're going to see another chase. Andrew gets the Tempai. Will drop the 4-pin, though. And deal in Ricci Dora. Ura-san! Mohan cannot stop hitting. Going for back-to-back victories. Does need to chase George down. Get the remaining 5K, but wow, that hand certainly increases in value when you flip 3 Ura.
Home. Home.
Right. It is Nathan opening up here in the dealership.
Home.
2 calls in. Perhaps going to force a flush here. We'll see what happens. That's another mon draw. That's good enough for me. I go 1 pin, 2 pin, or 2 pin, 1 pin here. Oh, but Nathan's going to hedge. Wants to maintain dealership.
치,
Okay. That's something. We'll trade out the east for the green dragon. And of course, Andrew's trying to find a tempi worth fighting for. Or just shut this down, but really wants to pair up that 8 pin for east door 2. Well, it ends up on the Tonki. So can certainly win if the 8 pins dropped. It's just only one player ever can drop the door here. We're going to see a Ricci from George. Ricci, door 1, waiting 1-4 pin. And now it's too late for Nathan to cut 2 pin, 1 pin. We'll need to find maybe a Chanta instead. Desperately needs a 3 pin though.
강,
Oh, Khan taking the fight. Oh, 5 mon. That's half Suji at least. This is so tough. The Khan at least will allow him to use the 3 pin. Oh, that's a 1 pin. That's got to come out. And Andrew will deal in here. Ricci door 2 after the Khan. Uda 1 as well. But Uda wasn't thanks to the Khan, but that's going to be another 8,000 points. And George extends the lead. 48k now. 13 over Mohan, who now takes the dealership back.
Boom.
All right, I have company.
Well, I think you do, but it says stream paused on my end.
Oh, well, that's interesting. I wonder what I'm sharing with you. Whatever it was doesn't actually want to share, so maybe this will work instead. As is, Mohan does open up with the early tune call and plans to door Tonki. We've seen it be very effective for him.
G.
And she into Tempai, cutting the Dora. We'll just take the 1500 Tempai. I do hope that's showing up now.
Nope.
That's quite amusing then. Well, we'll have the Mohan Sumo for a small amount of points, 1500. Gains 2,000 points on the competition, gets a reroll as the dealer. Okay, testing some stuff on the back end. Hopefully this
we have a visual.
Okay.
Oh, and it's gone.
So I suspect, I cannot confirm 100%, but I just updated something on my computer, and I'm wondering if that's causing the issue. Maybe OBS is having the issue. Maybe it is Discord that's having the issue. But regardless, we do have 2 Richi's here. Nathan on the left, George across the table. George has the better weight, and it's gonna win. Ricci door 2, Uda none, but 5-5-2 is going to extend the lead, and George is taking over this game, over 50,000 points. Well, at any rate, we do have Andrew hanging on to the dealership here. No 4-pin Dora. 4 pairs, though. Two Dora on the right for George. Could be another monster hand here. 2-mon, 2-mon seems to make the most sense to me, but cuts the Dora. Says, I don't need it. I've got all the points I need. That's a power move right there. Across the table, Nathan with a triplet and 2 pairs. It'll just be Ricci only, probably, as the hand currently stands, but that, I mean, points are points. It's only South 2, has a dealership remaining in all last, so hey, Ricci is good here. Actually goes with a 9-pin. I kind of like this. This hedges the play towards Tanya in the future. Still holds an Ishanten.
1
We're going to see the Ricci there from George. As expected,
Yeet.
getting the first. Cuts both Dora. I wonder if George missed the Dora, or if he truly is making the just absolute power move. Immediate chase by Nathan on the 7-pin. Again, it's strong weight versus weak weight. And these weak weights haven't been panning out for Nathan up to this point. Can he snipe one here? At least George's hand is not worth as much as it could have been. So Ricci only currently versus another Ricci only. This also is making it difficult for the dealer to play, and the dealer definitely wants to collect points. And yeah, George is going to get there again. Ricci Tsumo. No Una, but collects the Ricci sticks as well. So up to 57,000 points. And now gets the dealership. All right, Dora West. East pair in hand. Callable.
Home.
Immediately called. And we do have Ishanten already from the dealer. We have almost nothing going on right for Nathan. I mean, the shapes are there. But 1-1-2-2 pin is a really weak shape. It needs 2 of the 3 pins to complete Ipeko. And if not that, you're hoping to draw triplets. I don't know about you, but I never have high hopes of drawing a triplet. There are only 4 tiles in the game after all. Mohan across the table has a callable hand. Might not be playing for first anymore. The way George has absolutely taken over this game. Could try for Chitoy, though, and that is a route that can use the Dora. But George is already temp by waiting on the 3-mon. And so, although the weight's not strong, can just win. Speaking of Chitoy, it's 3-4 pairs on the right for Nathan. That might actually be the play here with these awkward shapes. And that's one of the few uses of Chitoys, when you've got shapes that are disconnected, that don't easily form sequences, such as the 1-1-2-2 shape. Gives you another out that isn't something like Toy Toy or Suanko. Okay, pair chance here. Could switch to 4-mon 6, so Champon weight. Now, usually this is strong because you can draw a sequence out of these middle pairs. For example, 5-mon would be an excellent draw for George, giving him a 3-sided weight.
Pong.
But the weakness here for George is that he's dropped some tiles near these pairs.
Dong.
And so something like the 7-so draw would be Shuriken because of the 5-so drop earlier. However, it doesn't matter. Just win. 1,500 points. Repeat. So when he makes that switch, the weight switch, has to take that into consideration. It panned out this time. All right. We've got a repeat for George. Looks like it won't be lasting. This is a brutal set of tiles to start out with, but with perfect draws, it could have hope. We'll have to see how the rest of the table pulls in their tiles as well. We've got okay hand here for Nathan. Perhaps there's an Itsu in the Monzu, full straight. Across the table, Mohan looks to be pretty strong as well. Two away from Tenpai, potentially Ipeko in the lower Pinzu. Maybe just Richi Pihu instead. Ishanten now. On the left, Andrew, no door in hand, potentially Tanyao. And of course, George, our dealer, the only player with a Dora, but it'll take quite some time to be able to use it. That 2 Mon certainly helps, though. Just feels like Mohan's going to get there first. Has the better shapes. There's a little bit of value attached to this hand as well. And we've seen Mohan hit Ura-san early in this game already, so maybe Ura 2 for this hand. A few different options for that. Has a choice there to hold the 7-8 shape if he believes the 6-9 will be stronger. 6-9 Mon, that is. Get a little extra acceptance now holding the 5. So, as a triplet, that means we can find a pair elsewhere. So something like 3 Mon, a 3 pin rather, 2 pin. Both will give you Tenpai. 7 So, 8 So will also give you Tenpai. It's always nice to have a triplet in your hand that you can trim out of into your pair when you are building your hand. Notably, Nathan on the right did cut away from the 1 Mon, so not hedging this Itsu chance. And that's reasonable with the shapes that are currently hand. If you're trying to be greedy, maybe you cut the 4 Mon away. You could even cut the 1 So 2 So, saying it's a weak shape. But I'm pretty okay with the way this is looking for now. Andrew, 1 away from Tenpai on the left. Maybe Richi Tanyao. Still in desperate position, wants to collect some sort of buffer to give himself a realistic chance to get out of last going into the final hand of the game. And all of his waiting has given our dealer time to get into a closer position, 2 away from Tenpai. How is it possible that Mohan has not drawn into Tenpai yet? It's so efficient.
Each.
Speaking of Tenpai, we have another bad weight Richi here from Nathan. Hasn't really had chances at good weights without sacrificing the immediate Tenpai, but here it's so late in the game that you might just have to do it. And that will be Tenpai from Mohan. Doesn't want to risk falling below 30k, and all the 3 of the 9 So have come out. Will not even take the Richi, just holds the Dama. And plays out the Suji 2 pin instead of the 1 pin that would potentially give Tanyo as well. So really trying to play this safely. And hates this 3 Mon probably, so just backs away. We've seen Mohan find Tenpai later after breaking Tenpai. Plays out the 7 and probably will jam the 1 pin if he draws the connector to the 3 Mon currently in hand. We do have George Ishantan with 1 draw remaining and will decline. Will just say, I'm willing to pass the dealership forward. I think that's smart. You've already got such a big lead. You don't need to be the player that takes action here. Don't really want to drop the 9 pin Dora anyway. So we will have Nathan finding the only player Tenpai once again, plus 3,000 points. Leaves us taking the middle with 2 Honba for our all last hand. And well, Nathan pairs up the White Dragon, which is promising for speed. However, Mohan's got the other pair on the right, which is not promising. And Mohan calls the Green Dragon, has a flush and to aim for, and that means that our dealer might have to rely on Richi here. Mohan going for it all. Considering the gap of 22,500 points, you might not think that it's possible for Mohan to overtake for first. However, with a direct hit Hanuman, and this hand could be Hanuman, then there will be enough points. So George will have to be a little bit careful here. However, George is 1 way from Tenpai already with a callable hand and might be able to shut this down in time. Across the way, Andrew also looking quite strong. Ishantam with a 6 Mon and 4 pin, 7 pin acceptance into Tenpai. Lots of ways to improve those shapes as well. This 2 Mon being one of them. So now can accept 3 pin. Oh, just holds it, throws it back. Interesting. I guess the 3 pin and 2 mon were both ones cuts, so only loses 2 tiles. But oh, the Dora, that's actually why Andrew wants to use the Dora. Doesn't care about this 5/7 shape so much. The issue is Mohan now has found Tempai on the Dora, so it will be Mongon if he wins on either weight.
Sumo.
Oh, it's not going to matter. George finds that Sumo drew the tune himself. Did not want to slam this Ricci, understandably, but will pull in the sticks from the middle and confirm a dominating victory here. Plus 46.8 in first place. Mohan with a plus 9.1 second. Again, these players were the two who had positive points in game number 1. So they are climbing these standings. Nathan will get a minus 17 for this game and Andrew minus 38.9. And so we've seen a reversal now in our updated standings. It is George who has taken the place of Andrew from the start of the series. And Mohan, who has also climbed into the positive. So great results from these two in session 5 with 2 games remaining. Yeah, maybe a little bit. Yeah, there have been quite strong plays from the players at this table. I wouldn't say your decisions have been bad necessarily. I think if you look at the Ricci battles that end up happening, it's a lot of times a weak weight against a strong weight, and usually the strong weight will win. And that's not to say that weak weight is necessarily bad. Of course, if you get to Tempai, a lot of times you're highly incentivized to slam the Ricci. But maybe there are ways to rework your hand or force a strong shape in the hand. Maybe sacrifice some weak shapes earlier so that to give you the potential to draw strong shapes later, and they'll give you better battles in the future. Still, if you slam a Ricci and are not winning the Riccis, not much you can do about that. Just getting to Tempai in the first place is the most important thing. Oh, I will mention one more thing. Your call rate is extremely low this season, which again is not necessarily a bad thing. There are some players in the league who have had a lot of success with a low call rate, but against players that are eager to open, that might put you at a disadvantage. If you've got 3 players that are going fast and you're the only player going slow for Ricci, that could put you at a disadvantage. So it might be good to pick some times to call and match speed. But those were 2 very interesting games to watch, and hopefully if you rewatch, there'll be some good advice. Chat also has excellent advice on opening, like Korak, who has one of the highest call rates in the league and sits in A1. All right, so we will have more action. More games will be starting. What I'm going to do is go ahead and take a break so that we can fix the technical issues, so that we can get some co-commentators in here, and when we come back, we will have more Armel action. So stay tuned.
Pump.
All right, folks, we are back. We've got a game, and we've got commentators now.
Yeah.
Hopefully, this will work for everybody. We do have Max live, and hopefully, possibly, if Cyrus can see the screen, Cyrus as well. And this is a C1 matchup, so this one's kind of interesting. Jesse, Caleb, Kana, Min. These players have been in the new division of C1, the C1B division, so almost exclusively players who have joined the league for the first time. And these players are kind of killing it here. Caleb at the top of this group, 134.8, looking at a decent chance of promotion. Jesse barely paused here, plus 38.6, but hoping to improve upon that today. Kana and Min in the negatives, but of course there are still 8 games to go in the season. Lots of opportunities and experience to be gained.
And while Nathaniel's given us the overview, we've had a Tumo for 2,000.
Yes, it is Min opening things up with a relatively cheap win.
Mhm.
And so now the important question, the question that allows me to determine if this is going to work out. Cyrus, are you able to see the screen? Can you actually see what's happening?
Hi, Nathaniel. Thank you for the overview. And yeah, it looks like I'm able to see the screen. And
Excellent. So give me one moment, and I'll put you in, and we can I'll leave it to you to take it away.
Yep, just working through a little bit of technical difficulties in the back end of the stream. Hopefully it's looking all right on the front. Just looking at the game, potentially a very fast hand on the right. In fact, already 10 pi. Kind of squashing Kana's dream of a dealer Honitsu.
Dong.
Yeah, and Min winning yet another fast hand to move us along. Let's see. And speaking of fast hands, Min starting with 2 Shanten. Very, very nice looking hand. Looking around the table. Oh, and actually, as I say that, Min draws into Ishanten. Looking around the table, Jesse with 2 penchans, not that great, but is Ishanten. On the left and across, bit slower, but could still get there. And actually, Min is
Eats.
Dama Pinfu. That's a new one.
0 Shanten.
And go for the Tsumogiri Richi.
My favorite.
Yeah. They say to never Dama your Pinfus. And, well, although one turn late, we do in fact get there. See, Jesse looks to be getting out already, not interested in dealing into Dealer Ricci, even if it's super early. Everyone else looks to be equally cautious as well. It'll be interesting to see how this pans out as people kind of exhaust safe discards, perhaps?
That's right. I got a little treat with Min. I've thrown 3 middle tiles for the first discards. But the pool will be running a little lower.
Yeah.
Eats.
Especially looking across the table, not too much safety. And there's a Ricci from Jesse. That 6-9 so. We do see 2 of the 9 so already in Min's hand, so And
But
let's see.
Min wins.
Caleb deals
2-2.
in to Min.
Nice. 3,000.
Yeah.
Valiant late chase reaching, but there's a nice build to Min's lead.
Right.
Pump.
Let's see. Once again, Min with this nice looking 2-shanten will pawn this the
Right.
south for Atozuke.
Just
Pump.
one. Now there's only 2 pairs.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tough
Gee.
question. I like what she did there. I will make a note of that in my mind for my future games.
I will say I probably would have passed that simply because I can still draw around the 7-pin later and maybe just avoid Atozuke. I'm not a huge fan of Atozuke in general.
I respect
And
it, but yes, that there is reason to remaining closed at this early stage, but it may well pay off. Let's see how it goes.
and Min
Pump.
choosing the 3rd pair on the 8 so now has this 6-8-8 shape. Will actually pawn not to decrease Shanten, but for Toy Toy.
Sumo.
Let's see. Other players around the table. Oh, no need to talk about that, I guess. Jesse wins on the Tonki 8-pin. It is a 7-8 pin weight, so not as bad. Let's see.
Sorry, a bit of
Pump.
lag on my side, so I'll be a little quiet.
No worries. Jesse now having his chance at a dealership has a couple pairs, couple Ryanmen. Fills one of the Ryanmen. Is now,
Pump.
let's see, looking to perhaps fill in one of the pairs for a triplet or draw the 3 so. 3 so looks pretty useful. Let's see. Other players. Min with another Ishanten, fast Ishanten, already has a Yaku, unlike last hand. And the Anko of 1 mon for that Fu bump to 40. Is that 40 Fu, or am I making things up? Alright. As Nathaniel just said, it is in fact 40 Fu. I'm not hallucinating. This is good.
Chi.
And we see across. Yeah. We may be losing Cyrus a little bit here, but I'm sure it's fine.
Refreshing my computer, sorry.
Chi.
Let's see. Hana choosing to get out of Tenpai and pick up the Honitsu for it's just Mangan. Will be East Dora Dora Honitsu. So is upgrading out of 3 Han for Mangan. We've got a bit more decisions to make here for Jesse. Throwing the pair of 1 pin, perhaps looking to even go for Chinitsu. Damaron on the right for Tanyao Ipeiko. I didn't even get to Caleb's hand yet. But yeah, this game is flying by. Already on South 1. Has only been 10 minutes, in fact. Fairly quick game. Cyrus, are you able to see the game all right now?
I think so. My computer just has completely crashed, so I'm just dealing with that on the background. Hope you don't mind flying solo for a little
Boom.
while longer.
All right. Yeah, no worries there. Yeah, so Caleb pulling the Haku here. Awful shapes in hand, though. I don't know if I would pawn that, if I'm being completely honest. That's just a playstyle difference, though. I don't... Nathaniel, do you have anything to say about this Haku?
Sure.
Would you have pawned it?
I do. I personally like making these calls as the dealer, but I I won't say that that's a universal playstyle. You're looking at the shapes and thinking, wow, these are terrible shapes, right? It's gonna be hard to win.
Yeah, that's... Well, as the bad shapes fill in, maybe
I
my
love these shapes to
fears are a
say,
bit...
yeah, these are terrible shapes. We probably won't be able to win unless we can call them.
Yeah. Oh my. 7-so draw. Fills in the Ryankon, fills in the Penchan. Now Ishanten with the Ryanman. Is looking... It just gets better and better every single turn.
Ooh.
Okay, maybe not that one.
2-door on the right, though.
Yeah. 2-door on the right. The shapes are probably hoping to Richi, but would like to have this 7-so that's coming out right now. Now has this 2-mon. Will be cutting 9-mon. Interesting. Still holding only the Kanchan on the lower Manzu side. Let's see, let's take a quick look at other people's hands. Jesse's hand, kind of slow. At this point, it's already middle of second row. We'll be cutting out of the 8-9 pin Penchan, favoring perhaps these floating middle tiles, the 7-so and the 4-mon. And does get the 5-pin, so that's +1 Yanmen there. Let's see. Oh, that's Chitoi Ishan
Yeet.
across. And a Richi for... Sorry, I'm not too familiar with the players and their usernames just yet.
Yeah, Kana slamming the Ricci on the
Yeah.
Shabo. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
both of the Wests have been drawn. Only one 8-so remains in the wall, but it's an easy slam.
Mm-hmm. I would never say no to Dora too.
I guess there was the option to wait on the 7-so, but I think the Shabo is the
Yeah.
normal way to play this.
Mm-hmm. Especially with 2 7-so out.
Okay, Tempai, will he
to
slam?
Kanchan.
Will he push? 2-so is kind of hard to do.
Not sure if we can slam on this open hand, though.
Yeah, certainly. Goes to the 5-pin 6-pin. Has chances to draw Sotao's back into Tempai.
For sure. I imagine other players trying not to deal in here, although the 7-pin's coming out across rather than the 6-pin. Quite interesting. Let's see. Looks like this hand will probably end uneventfully. There is Tenpai across.
It's not Gasuji.
Have to jam the 6-so. And it is safe.
Nice play by Min right there.
2 players Tenpai. We keep moving around. So we shift from Caleb's perspective. There are some pretty good shapes there, though. Kana's hand has the unwieldy 2 pairs, not the easiest to play a Pinfu hand, which I personally would love to play here. We have this 6-7-7-8 shape. It's very nice. The right side, perhaps sharking for double south to extend the lead. Kana now with the Chun pair, although 1 is already out. And look at that across. Jesse going for 13 orphans is already 2 Shanten looks like needs the 9mon, 9-pin, and 1 so. And although the 9mon is fairly dead, there's only 1 more left in the wall. So, unfortunately, that hand might not pan out.
Okay, but
Although it would be cool to see.
Yeah, wouldn't it be fantastic if we saw it on the last tile?
Mhm.
リ
Oh,
ーチ
and a Ricci already on the table. Ricci Tanyao on 3-6 so, but it's Ipatsu Ron on
Ron.
9 so.
9 so.
So, Yasume, no Ura. It is 5200 though, and that actually brings Min all back down close to the rest of the field.
Yeah, anyone's game for first here. And for Min, that was from Ishantan. So it's an understandable push. It's a terminal tile. Don't think it's that bad, but a nice wide weight from Caleb gets rewarded for the slam, even if it wasn't for the most value with a 3 or 6 so.
I mean, wouldn't say no to a 5200 at this point. Now only both Caleb and Jesse only a 2-Han hand away from first. And Kana can still definitely make it back. Only 5900 down from dealer. So yeah, maybe players will look towards, at least Caleb and Jesse will look towards faster hand in order to grab that win. Let's see. And Jesse possibly looking to a Tanya shift here. We'll have to drop the Dora, but it's not looking too awful to discard at this point. Looks like Caleb dropping the pair of 9-pin early on. Let's see. I will say Kana looking to have a fairly fast hand. Actually, Min Ishanten from that not so great looking hand earlier. Let's see.
Do we have
And it is a
Wildcyrus
9-mon,
pick?
9-mon cut from the left.
Thank you for the welcome back, Nathaniel. Thanks for covering me. Thanks for a great commentary, Max. In the meantime, we're
I'm doing my
second
best here.
penultimate game. I think you're doing fantastic. Ooh,
And Min
I
actually has the opportunity to pawn for Tanya or Chi, which is very nice. There will be a Ricci across, Ricci
Ricci.
Pinfu waiting on 4-7 so. Orso very dead. 7 so still 2 left in the wall. So not the worst. We will see how other players choose to play around this situation, as it is South 3 and most players are probably looking for some points.
it is a very tight point situation. I do see. We'll see if
Yeah.
Caleb flexes draw skill. Get one of those last 2 sevens. So
Yep. Jesse choosing to throw the one chance 3 so there.
7 so in the wall.
Probably looking to drop the 3-5, with the 5 being Nakasuji. And Min still Ishanten. So I imagine Min does not want to give up at this point. Does not
No.
want to give up the dealership.
Not
Yep,
if
jams the 7-pin. Jesse will not be Tenpai at this Ryukyoku. we'll still have a pretty solid chance as Min will be Tenpai and we will stay on South 3.
I thought there was an interesting choice there, where Min could have just pawned that last 3, so, but yeah, I'm not sure if that would have really helped.
Do I jam 7 pin? Honestly, I would be fairly scared. I didn't count the Suji remaining at that point. But with, such a narrow lead, I would be afraid of, dealing into maybe 3 Han. And instead of fighting for first, I'd be fighting for last, to not be last.
I'm not saying it's the right move, but I do see an interesting potential for it from Kana's point of view here, especially before the 1-9 pin was thrown. Jinchan even.
Yeah, it is unfortunately a fairly slow hand, looks to be from... Okay, I need to stop saying people's hands are slow. They just end up drawing into everything whenever I do that. So yeah, Kana filling the kanchan on this with the 7 pin. Maybe if I keep saying the hand slow, we'll see a 7-so or 3-so draw next turn. Yeah. Jesse
Yeah.
Jesse and Caleb, unfortunately, not in the greatest position with their hands.
Min already with a
Yeah.
delicious
Dama Sanshoku.
Shoku. Yes.
Yeah. So Min Dama probably just looking to cash in at this point. Dealer, it is. Let's see, dealer 240, so will be 3,900 points. And that'll give Min a good bit of padding. Not a Mongon above Caleb, unless it's direct run, of course. And that 7 pin does look loose in Caleb's hand. A bit scared over there. Although maybe we might see it out of Kana's hand first, depending on future draws.
Yeah, the only saving possibility that
Yeah, especially
keep building is if she gets another 9 pin to avoid throwing
Yeah.
a 7.
Or the 6 pin.
True.
So yeah, a bit scared on that end.
And
But
we
it's
were right
Jesse that will deal in.
at call.
Going for Chitoy. That was Chitoy Tenpai, so not unfair to throw, in fact. But yeah, not the person we were expecting to discard the 7 pin first. And now Jesse in last place. After being such a tight race just 2 hands ago.
Yeah, Min is pulling ahead fairly convincingly. The one good thing for Jesse is that it is not South 4 yet. Not quite yet.
Yeah. Still has a dealership, can still make it all the way back to first.
And that's
Just need to see the big dealer run.
it's not going.
Though we'll probably need a bit of luck, because Min looks well positioned to win this hand as well. Has the option for Tanyao, even opening for Tanyao. But potentially just a Pinfu hand. We'll cut the 2 pin, yep. Jesse on the right, Ishanten, accepts 3467 Mon, and the East. On the other hand, Kana, Ishanten for Honitsu, draws into a couple Yakuhai pairs. And now looking very good. So, yeah, anyone's game. Will Jesse reach this? Is the question. The answer is yes.
リーチ
Besides, he needs the points. And he wouldn't be wrong. He kind of does need the points at this point.
I don't hate it. It is a pinch on, but one
It is
down.
pretty.
And there
And
we go.
now, there is the 3-mon deal in
Boom.
from Min.
Riichi Dora 1.
Hits the Ura, and now, once again, a fairly close game.
Yes, to just
Kind of reset the points a little bit. Not as close as it was at the beginning of South 3, but there's a chance to turn it around.
But while Kana is temporarily in fourth, we do see a nice opening high pie, an opening hand here.
Oh, for sure.
2 Shanten
With
or good 3?
for Kana looks to be well now 2 Shanten.
Now is in DCMC 2, yes.
So not for Pinfu. Let's see. Other good hands around the table. I mean, Min's looks callable. Not sure if he'll go for that. Honest, what do you call at this point? You're what, 2,000 points ahead?
At this point, yeah,
Shapes are pretty solid.
that's somewhat tough one, but right, there's a lot of Ryanman possible after calling. And across from us, Jesse. 3 pairs, but fairly close as well. I think that's also a 2 Shanten hand. And here's that question that you asked, Max. Let's see if Min will take. Oh, he doesn't at the moment.
Chooses to pass, gets rewarded, and draws into the other Ryanman. And still 2 Shanten, but honestly, at this point, I would definitely take the call if the 2-mon came back.
Absolutely. Can't turn on a Nathan fan. At 2, 3, 4. Sanshoku.
Min does choose to cut the 7-so over the 1-so. I think it's an interesting choice. We trade the floating 7-so for the floating 1-so. We're not in the need for a pair.
Yeah,
I think I would prefer cutting the 1-so there just for Tanyao option.
I agree. Oh,
and
curves.
although, yeah, I don't know what it is with me today and saying things are not that great. Immediately draws into the 5-so. Now Ishan-ten for Pinfu.
Boom.
And also Ishan-ten for Sanshoku. Jesse opens up. Appears to be going for that Tanyao. And Caleb, I guess, is this a K10 play? Cutting the Dora.
That was interesting. You see that, Max? He's Caleb. Yeah, Caleb has.
Oh, it's Sanshoku. I might be blind.
He could have maybe broken the 7-8 pin or a weird 6-7.
Yeah.
Wait, possibly, but that might be me being too greedy.
Yeah, perhaps trying to lower the risk later. Would have to throw the 6-mon and the 8-mon at some point. Or other.
For sure, unless breaking the 7-8 pin was just too good of a round. I guess. Oh, well, now it's forced the issue.
Yeah. So Min is in fact Tenpai for Pinfu with Sanchoku Takame. Might try to snipe someone on a 3-so or a 6-so. Although, probably, I say probably, it might come out of Jesse's hand right now. And that would be a little bit unfortunate, given that it would put him below 30k. And
Gee.
that is definitely what will happen now.
Boom.
As called.
So
Not the wrong
that's
move,
it
but
for,
bring him under that.
yeah,
Say.
I would definitely get hit there as well. So
A nice Dama.
unfortunate result for Jesse at the end. But at least it's not fourth, right? I would. Fourth is quite a big hit.
Nice one, but
Not that bad. Yeah.
those close games, hate to lose it, but
I
think pretty well
I
played.
I just have a bit of hate for the number 4 right now. I'm currently sitting still at a 50% fourth rate in B2. It's a great time, honestly. Yeah, 50% fourth rate. Still not in demotion zones, so that's
Out.
the saving grace.
Nice.
But yeah. So see, that game ends. See, can we catch are there standings to catch, or? Yes, there are. And so we see Min rising a bit, still down there at 23rd place. Tana moving down into 19th. Caleb keeping steady in the promotion at the top. And Jesse also moving down just a little bit, but there is quite a big gap between Jesse and the 4 players at the top right now. And do we have another game up already?
Yeah, let me
just launch the game.
Synchronize.
Launch the.
So this is already started. Yeah. So game 2 of their session. Well, we're around at the end of the first row. Let's take a look.
I'm actually quite surprised by how fast this game started. I've never had a game start this quickly after, or never had this short of a break between 2 hands.
No bathroom break needed here. I'd guess no Min is at. Well, she could have kept Ishanten, but I think this was a good move. Ooh. Kari kind of complex.
Let's see.
Ishanten for.
All right. We'll make sure, keep note of that. Let's see. Min's hand chooses not to take the Ishan 10.
リーチ
And we'll cut the 4-mon pair earlier. Now Jesse already tenpai and has reached for Vichitanya. There is a bit of foo in there, but not enough to push to 50 at least. Let's see.
ポン
Min now calling. Still Ishan 10. Will be interesting to see how Min plays into Tenpai. There is Tenpai, but has to jam 5-so passes. It is Tanya Dora 2 for Min, so a bit less dubious than initially thought. Though Min's weight is... Where is Min's weight? There's a 6-pin right there. I don't imagine people would be throwing Dora at this point. 8-so? 8-so is Suji. And there are actually 3 still left in the wall. Now 2.
And now none. We'll see how long. Ooh. I don't Way to keep 10 pi here and not deal in.
Mhm.
Oh,
Chooses to discard the Suji 8 so over the Musuji 7 so. Fair play. Will not get to run this though. But
つも
and gives Jesse the Tsumo the next turn. At least it wasn't the deal in on the 7 so. Think
right. It was
Min
nice.
will be happy that he dodged that deal in. At least.
It was nice to pawn back into 10 pi on the original. Well, not original, but onto a 4-7 two-side weight.
And now Jesse with a probably wants to go Honitsu Chinitsu here. Already has a pair and 2 completed shapes in the Manzu. But while, punishing for the early 4-pin discard, and not that many avenues into this Honitsu hand. We'll have to, can end up with complex shapes on this big 4, 5, 6, 6, 7, 8 block. We'll have to stop drawing the Sozu and the Pinzu, though, to do that. In the meantime, there's a Chun pair in Caleb's hand. Still not the fastest. Will Caleb call this? I imagine Caleb does in fact call. Across the way, we have 5 pairs now. Everyone's least favorite hand.
Seems like Khan was considered for a moment or few there. I think it's interesting that Min's 3-5 Mon discard paid off what kind of well here. It looks like there's an interesting, if she's able to draw into the Sozu like here, middle Sozu, or pair up a 5 or 8 pin.
There is the middle Sozu. We'll cut the 8 in favor of Ryanmen. Although there's the chance to not hit. There's the chance to not hit Tanyao now. We see across actually sorry, this is Kana, yeah. Ishan 10 for non-Chitoi while still holding all 5 pairs. And now
I see it, yeah.
It's curious how Jesse is just playing this Penchon Ryankan.
And Caleb
Kind of
denied the pawn on the 4 Mon.
カン
But
ooh,
draw
that
into
is
10 Mon.
conning into Dora 3 on this Shabo Tenpai.
Wow.
8 so 4 Mon.
Dealing
And
in
we see the deal in.
It's just past us too.
Yeah. Quite the big hit. Yeah. Simply con and get 3 Dora. I wish I could con and get 3 Dora.
Oh, you and I both.
Okay. And now, once again, dealer with pair of Guest Wind and 2 Ryankan. Although, debatably, the 1-3-5 so is not a Ryankan because there's the 6-6 so there. But at least there's the 1-3 and the 2-4-6 mod. So, say looking to be a slower hand. Would you cut the south there? I feel like
It looks like it's
we
not.
are
It
we
didn't
are a little. I was gonna say we were a little short on shapes after that cut, but we do draw the 4-so into Ishan 10. If I keep complaining about people's shapes, then maybe they'll keep drawing into them. Uh, other people probably. Let's see, who's able to contest this dealer hand right now? Hana on the right, Ishan 10, also has the Kanchan Ryankan. That's the pair.
Right, that is the pair. Now, the funny thing is I could see myself doing that, but it is a bit of a bolder
It is
risk
the
move. Yeah, to lose the
it is
pair
the
there.
Sanshoku play at least. But
True.
Nathaniel enjoys that decision. I don't know if I would go for it personally.
I think I can see the
Maybe
kind of
it,
logic completely shot in the dark that the hand wasn't having enough value. But then again, no, the door indicator has an 8, so but Banshoku always adds value, so perhaps it's a more of a
now
geared towards
Jesse has the Yaku and Dora too. So we'll see if his hand can go to completion. Still,
a very
see.
devoidable hand. Oh,
カン
Oh, that is.
we didn't hype
You
the
know what?
con.
I like that con. Simply flex your fortunes, and hope you con 3 Dora.
Beautiful 70 foo hand here. Yeah, totally nothing more dangerous than just 70 foo here going on here. Yeah.
Mhm. Now Jess needs to decide. Yeah. Wait, this is Kansai Chi toy with the con. I feel like this deserves something.
Oh, Kana with the 9 so cut that kind of removes the Sanshoku.
リーチ
There's Tenpai for Kana.
But there's
Waiting on the
10 back.
Sanzo. It is a good tile, and it's actually 2 remaining in the wall. So we could see a Tsumo here. It is possible. Other players. Oh, there's the 3-so.
Unfortunate draw,
Jesse
but
draws one of the copies.
yeah,
Will not deal in on this turn at least.
that's
But
right.
maybe will be. Maybe could be convinced to if he can get into Tenpai. See, other players. Actually, no one is Tenpai here besides for the Ricci.
And Caleb was a Furiten Tenpai
チ
before throwing the Tuman.
Alright. Min now
Chi.
Tenpai. We will see the Chi and the
Wrong.
deal-in from Jesse.
Yeah.
A little bit unfortunate. There is Dora 3 and an Ura.
And
Not
Ura.
Hanemon, but once again a Dora 3 deal-in for Jesse. Probably not too happy about that right now.
No, I
Ana
would not.
definitely very happy though. Has this potential Sanshoku and is sitting at 37k.
ポン
Let's see. We get yet another Yaku high call. Yeah, Yaku high call from Caleb on the left. Does have the 345 so Mensu and the Ryanmen. Can even go pay Tanki later for East Dora too.
That may be a nice dark horse. Yeah.
Kana
Ooh.
Ishanten for the Sanshoku though.
Kanchan.
Yeah. Hanchan on the 6-8 mon. Ryanmen on the 7-8 pin. So oh, and there's the Sanshoku.
リーチ
Anshoku declined. Will perhaps a Sakigiri trap, but I don't know if I would have done the same myself. But there is a Sakigiri trap on the 1 mon maybe.
Hmm. Yeah, see. Yeah, so we have this Sotogawa from Kana over here. Unfortunately, no one has the 1-mon to deal in. But that just means we can sumo it instead. Although, I feel like I would be so tempted to take the Kanchan 7-mon weight. His Sanchoku is just too good. It's just too
for
good.
sure. For sure, and that's
Other
even as
players,
Sakiri traps. I wouldn't have declined it.
looks like Min is fighting.
Yeah, that's
Although,
true.
I'm not sure how much I would want to fight with that hand. Now that I've said that, surely Min will draw some good tiles. No, that's not quite it.
Well, she'll do it absolutely probably.
I feel like there have been so many Chitoys.
Cheat.
Because I just looked
Yeah.
across and Jesse's Ishanten for Chitoi Dora too. Not Tenpai yet. Will look call? No. Yeah, a bit too far from Tenpai, and the Tsumo from Kana hits Ura. Never mind. There's the three Han that I was looking forward to waiting on 7-mon for.
And what a juicy hand here for Kana. Kanta or
Has
Junchan? Stanshoku,
yeah.
2 or 3 Dora? Epic. With a pawn or just drawing the third.
Oh, there's the tune. I feel like at this point you have to decide what to discard. It will be the Forso. And the tune is Mochi Mochi with Jesse, so we will likely not be seeing that. And that might just be a blocker for Kana's hand, unless they discard Chun Chun right here. And it is totally possible, because we are Ishanten for Junchan. Yes. And that does come out. It will give Jesse Tenpai 3-mon for Yaku Yaku Honitsu. So we'll see if anyone deals into this first row Honitsu Mangan Tenpai. It is 2 calls, so it's a bit more fair, I guess. I did have a game I played a couple weeks ago where I dealt into Hanemon and Mangan first row, and they were both Dama, by the way, so
Yeah.
yeah, that was a ride.
That's crazy. Max.
Yeah, so praying the other players don't have to deal with this. Kana will be calling the 9-pin for Dora 3, Junchan Dora 3, only
Interesting.
Mangan. But Sanchoku has the same value. Does give Jesse the Tsumo. So we'll make one of the Mangans back. Yeah. I'm not the biggest fan of that pawn there. If we pair at that point we would need another pair, we would need a new pair, and it can't be either of the twos. Because we would lose our Yaku.
Right, and there was already, I think, 2 birds out, 2 1-sos out.
Yeah.
That's right, it is wider, but there's no Yaku, I think, due to the tunes no longer being in their hand.
No guaranteed Yaku, at least. So
always inside.
now Min with the Ishanten does even have the chance to con the south if he draws the 4th one. I want to see a con.
No harm, no
Cons
foul.
are pretty funny. As long as they're not in my game. Let's see.
I don't
On the
mind
other
that
side of the
too.
on
If
the
they
other side of the board, we have potential for the 2-3-4 Sanchoku from Kana. I know that's Nathaniel's favorite.
Mhm.
On the right, with Jesse's still, I believe, 2 Shanten hand. Can call the West, or can't call the Hatsu, sorry. Although this late could be a little slow for the
Yeah.
1 Han value. Whether to con, right here. Ooh.
Midway through Hanshan last. Yeah, I would probably do it to increase my own speed. Just con it immediately.
I would be tempted to, flex that I have it. Although I personally don't think it's the right play unless we get a tile that improves our weight a little bit.
Really? But yeah, it
Dropped the Tuso earlier, does not have the Sanchoku option anymore. Interesting decision. And now, actually, that 1-mon, that was one of the tiles that I said can improve the Ishan 10. And honestly, I would have conned there. I think.
You and I are in agreement on that. Yeah.
How
1
threatened do you feel by other people's hands at that point on the previous turn?
A little hard to tell, but I'm also kind of feeling the time pressure as my last dealership, and in a last place by a small margin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense.
Might be an adherent to the idea of Rinshan, aiming for Rinshan, so conning when 10 pi, which is just valid.
Yeah. So, did not hit the Rinshan, but we'll still have this chance. This has a good round then. As long as you don't see the 3-6 mon in Jesse's hand. Hana now 10 pi. We drew back the 2-so we got earlier. Does not jam the 5-so. Probably regretting it a little bit now, seeing that 5-so is safe.
And now no more winning tiles left in the wall for Min, so
Jesse also draws into possible 10 pi. We'll have to throw the 7 pin and Richi's with 1 draw left, trying to cash in on that Dora 3 and Ura chance. Possible on this high tay. Will not be it.
on the dice.
Yeah, so neither Ricci wins with the 2 indicators. Both players who want to secure their not last position. So
no huge fireworks there, but perhaps they won't complain in hindsight. I think though either one of those could have been big hands to deal into. Better to just fight the next hand.
Alright, and moving into this hand, neither of the players at 24k have particularly great looking hands. Hana, not so awesome either. We have 2 Shanten across. Has 2 completed shapes. We'll probably keep this 4-pin for wider acceptance on the big Pinsu shape in the middle. Will not do that. I'm getting proven wrong.
Caleb,
Honestly, there I would be very likely to throw the 9, so.
Right, that was what I was thinking too, but perhaps a defensive idea. See there, okay, there's the 9. Oh,
Yeah, it is row 1. I feel like we can't be that scared at this point. And we're also not in first. So
Right.
I
I won't.
think it would make a lot more sense to just play pure efficiency there.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But I
So
also realize I might just be a little more of a less defensive player. Now, unfortunately for Caleb, there's a lot of 3 mon out, and right as I say that, okay, he just
mhm.
draws
Commentator's
one in.
blessing. There's no curses this stream. There's only blessing.
Bountiful blessings. You're right, Max.
Yeah. As I mentioned as I kind of mentioned earlier, Min's hand not that great is now 2 Shanten. As 9 so pair, 2 so pair. 9 so is dead though. So maybe looking to switch out of that.
And now we'll see if Caleb reaches on a Tatanki. There is Yaku with
Gee.
Ipeiko 6, 7, 8 pin. But I agree with his decision not to reach on the Tanki. There might be a better one, like this one for Monrealman or some other. Who knows?
Yeah.
Cheat your weight.
One mon is dead though, so I think it's also fair to pass on this one.
But it is Pinfu now, too, Nama.
Yeah. Oh, and Sumo, so maybe we should have Richi'd. But hindsight is 2020. I think if you brought me back to that turn, I would probably pass 9 times out of 10. It'd be interesting to hear what other people would have done in that situation, though.
Yeah, in chat or otherwise.
Any professionals in the chat? Anyone significantly better than me? That's probably a bunch of you in there. So, hoping to hear some opinions. Back to the hand. Let's see. Jesse, now on his last dealership, has 5 pairs.
Indeed. And also pretty close to just a normal Ipeiko
And
pin.
Dora too.
And Dora too, absolutely.
Yeah, so Jesse trying to navigate this could be a callable hand, could go for Tanyao, could just hold out for the Chi Toy Tenpai.
Would you have considered holding, Max, that last pay as Jesse to just commit to Chi Toy? Because pay, if we're able to wait on that, would be comes out really easy, seems. Oh no, well,
I mean, at that point, it was still only 1 out, so... But the thing is, I'm still looking, and it's possible that we have the Tanyao shift. We cut West-West 9 mon. We would have to pick up the 6 mon at least, or the 8 mon. Or you can just cut the 8 mon and use the 7 mon as our pair.
yeah,
As
for
we
sure.
say that, there is a
Tanya for me, so.
Richi from Min. The weight is 1 mon 5 so 8 so. 5 so is dead, 8 so is 3 live.
Long.
And Jesse will be discarding one of them and dealing in.
Ooh, rough one.
Now,
But
Jesse, no dealership left, is only about 3 Han behind 3rd place, so not an unrecoverable gap,
no, it isn't.
but potentially not as excited. Let's see. East is Dora. It did get cut on turn 1, so Caleb not having the chance to pull it before he draws the pair. Other people's hands, I mean, Hana has this Dian Shanten over here. Hanyao. And Other players, I mean, Jesse holding 3-4 pairs in hand, actually. We'll probably look to cut one of them here. Like the four pairs, including the 8-pin. Which, debatably not quite a pair, as we can draw the 5-pin or the 8-pin and use it as an Onko. Over
Open.
here in front of us, Caleb now
リーチ
Yuan Shanten will not be getting the East. The East could be way buried in the wall.
Kind of gets Tenpai. Let's see what it is.
On it deciding on the 7-pin
Ooh.
Tonki. Oh, there's the East.
Interesting.
Jesse actually not discarding it. I don't know if he's perhaps afraid of it dealing in on a Tonki. It is the Dora, so a little scary.
Yeah, since he can't see Caleb having it, it does look pretty alive.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oof.
Yeah, and it looks like Jesse will actually be basically folding completely. Drops that 6-pin instead of the 9-so, which is now coming out. I feel like it is South 3 and we are 3 Han behind. I would be, even though it's against a Ricci, I would kind of be feeling the pressure at that point. And now with the second Ricci on the board, I think it's clear that we probably should. Folding is probably the right play here. Though we do need to decide what to fold. This 7-pin is Suji trapped now by Min's Ricci tile.
ロン
Will not deal the 7-pin, but will deal into a Mongon instead. Now, only player below 30k. That's quite brutal, especially on South 4.
Yeah. That was a tough deal, and that was safe against his Toyman. Really
On the other hand,
チ
the other 3 players, fairly close here. Min only 2 Han behind Caleb. And Hana with already Yaku here opts not to keep the 2-pin pair for a potentially faster hand and guns straight for the Honitsu. Will likely, yeah, we will see the 3-so pulling here.
ポン
And this hand is looking, Hana's hand is looking to be a lot faster than Min. Across the way, we have 2 Shanten for Jesse with the 6-8-pin Kanchan and 2 Janmen on the 2-3s.
チ
Hana now Ishanten, although one of them is a Penchan on the 3-so.
Do want to
Gee.
note for Jesse's side that perhaps he could have considered, well, before he knows he's going to draw another 7-so, that he could have dropped the first 7-so and try to hope for maybe even a 1-2-3 or 2-3-4 Sanshoku, if only to salvage some extra points, even if that's not enough to take to overtake third. But for sure now, his fate, his luck is flowing more into a
ポン
Honitsu, perhaps even Toy Toy
Yeah,
situation. Oh, that's
that looks
exciting.
to be what Jesse is hoping for at this point. Hana choosing to throw the 1-so over the 4-so, perhaps already playing a little safer. Wants to at least not get third.
And also, since there's probably from Kana's point of view, there's only 1-3-so left. Maybe still trying to
Yeah,
win her way over
Gee.
to the fire. So
I would be potentially looking for a Tonki on 1 or 2-so, I guess. you
Nice
would
cheeky one.
discard
Yeah.
the 1 or the 2 so at that point because you do have the 468 Yankan.
ポン
Now 10 pi on the
you.
left. 5 mon, 8 mon. And see, still Ishan 10 Otozuke for mint. Needs that tune. Jesse, now 10 pi, 7 so 2 so, is not Toy Toy, but at least we'll get him some points back. And it is possible that Kana deals in on 2 so at some point, especially if we hit 10 pi on maybe the 5 so. I don't know if 5 so or 8 so look, or 2 so or 8 so look safer here. I feel like given that the 2 so is, oh yeah, and on the 8 so draw, 2 so will like definitely be coming out for Kana with the 3 so's dead. But oh, it'll be the Tanyao Nomi that wins this all.
ロン
Maybe, yeah, not the big change of points that we were hoping for. But
Nice.
Caleb, happy
Point.
to
Reversed by Caleb.
get away from that tense all last situation with 22 points. Kana still getting 10 points, not bad. Min up 4.6, and Jesse, unfortunately the big loser this hand at this game today, minus 37.6. If we see the standings change after this, see, Caleb will be moving up into second place over Tony, although is 2 games ahead of Tony, so we'll have to see how this session pans out. Jesse moving down at around 0 now. Kana and Min both gaining a little bit of points, moves up slightly. I don't think they moved up any places in the standings, but might go a long way later on.
For sure, and have been trying to avoid it.
So let's see, will we be getting any more games tonight? All right. So I guess that's probably going to be it today. Thanks everyone for tuning in. I think, do we usually plug our socials at the end? Oh yeah, you can see them in the bottom right corner. Have the Twitter or X, formerly known as Twitter, at American Ricci. We have our website, americanricci.org, and we have our YouTube channel where you can find lots of VODs. Probably. I haven't personally checked it out myself. That's on me. But yeah, you can get to it quickly at tinyurl.com/armelyt.
Yeah, it's a lot of videos there, a lot of archives. Thank you too. Well, thank you, Max, for commentating with me. Nathaniel
Thank you,
earlier.
Cyrus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mort, for rating in. Forget if we commented on live, but thanks for rating into our stream earlier. Thank you to the
And
chatter.
thank you to all the viewers for being here tonight. And hopefully the commentary was solid. Yeah.
Thanks for bearing with the
Technical issues earlier, kind of unavoidable, so no one's fault particularly. Hopefully that didn't impact the viewing experience too much. But yeah, once again, thank you all for being here and have a great Wednesday evening.
Have a great evening, all. And for those of you playing, best of luck on your later games. Take care, all.